Well, hello there. Thank you for being a part of another one of my stream classes. My name is Beth Gaff, and I am the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I want to thank you for being a part of this stream class today. I would also like to remind you of the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program. So if you're a part of that, you're going to want to be listening for your secret code in here. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can reach me here at the library, and I can explain it a little bit more to you. Also, keep in mind that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means that you can stop this, minimize this, go away from this, come back to this later. You are under no obligation to sit through this all in one setting. You'll just want to keep track of your time, of where you are in the class, and you can pick it right up from that location the next time you're ready to start it. So I want to get this class going. It's a pretty big one. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to Searching Online. So that video was pretty fun. With that, you can get the right strategy to start tackle even the most difficult searches. Before we can get into more specific tips, we're going to actually look at the fact versus the fiction. I've also got this posted as a printable on the class itself, so you can find that link and you'd be able to print this out for yourself. But this is fact versus the fiction, the common misconceptions about searching online. And the web isn't magic. You want to keep that in mind. Search engines like Google can find almost anything, but they can't understand complex questions like, how's the weather in California? Or where can I get a cup of coffee? You won't always find reliable information. Just keep that in mind. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's true. There's no guarantee that the result of your search will be an accurate, unbiased, or even up to date. So for example, an article on a celebrity gossip website is probably not the best source for reliable information. So you want to keep that in mind when you're doing these searches. You can't copy and paste someone else's work. Even though you just found it out on the internet, it still belongs to someone. So plagiarism is plagiarism, whether you're writing a presentation, a research paper, or a personal post for your blog. And so you want to keep in mind about a plagiarism, and I do believe that there's going to be a section in here about the plagiarism, so you'll get a little bit more understanding of what plagiarism is and if you're doing it or not. The web is smarter than you think. So you can search for keywords instead of questions, and you'll probably find exactly what you're looking for. Weather, San Francisco, or coffee. Instead of those questions like, how's the weather in California? You just type in weather and then the city or the state or however you want to do that. You will find a wide variety of content. That's the great thing about the internet. It gives you access to everything. The good, the bad, and everything in between. From collaborative resources like Wikipedia to forums for personal expression, there's no reason you can't enjoy it all. You just have to be mindful of the difference between personal opinion and resources that are reliable and reputable. You can create your own masterpiece. You just have to follow the rules. Always state your findings in your own words, give credit where credit is due, and be respectful of copyright and fair use laws. So you just want to make sure that you are getting all that. And actually, this particular page I got here came from gcflearnfree.org. So I use a lot of their information, and I highly recommend them. So if you want to find out some other types of technology type classes, I have a lot of them on my page, but you also can go to gcflearnfree.org. That's where I've gotten a lot of my information, and they have a lot of that for you to look at as well. So this was Fact versus Fiction, the common misconceptions about searching online. Again, I have this as a printable, so if you wanted to print it out, you can do that. It's under the comments for this particular class. So I hope you have a little bit better understanding the fact versus the fiction of online searching. So I want to make sure that you understand search engines. And actually, I'm just going to briefly explain to you the difference between a search or a web browser and a search engine. A web browser would be like Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Safari, Firefox, Chrome. Those are all web browsers. And what they do is their only job is just to get you connected to the internet. That's all they do. Once you get into the internet, then you start working with search engines. And these are the three primary ones that we're going to talk about. Google, Yahoo, and Bing. And these actually get you those results that you are looking for. Search engines are specialized websites that can help you find what you're looking for. You've probably heard of some of the most popular ones, which is Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Even if you've never even used them, you've probably heard of them. With these three search engines in mind, you may be wondering, what's the difference? They all have access to the same information. So they should return the same results, right? Not necessarily. Different search engines can yield different search results. Google is the most popular search engine because it's the most effective at finding what you're looking for. On average, it produces more relevant results than Yahoo or Bing, and it's better at organizing and filtering them. For this reason, we are going to kind of focus on Google a little bit more throughout the class today, and you're going to see that. Your browser search bar is probably set to Google by default. However, if it is set to something else like Yahoo or Bing, you can easily change it to Google. And if you want to find out how to make a search engine a default search engine, just get in contact with me and I can help guide you through that process of getting that set as a default, because it is a lot easier to be able just to have what we like to come up instead of whatever the default is for your particular program. So we can definitely get you set up on that. But we're going to focus primarily on Google in the class today, just because it is ranked the #1 search engine out there. Yahoo and Bing would work just as well. There are several other ones. Ask is another one. Yelp is another one. But we're going to focus primarily on Google today.
Okay, so now we are going to take a look at the different types of websites so you can have a little bit better understanding of what you're looking at when you go into these sites. A Google search can bring in results from all types of websites. As you look through your search results, it's helpful to know what type of site you're looking at. So we're going to click on these tabs to learn a little bit more about some common website types. I got this from gcflearnfree.org, a fantastic site. So we're going to just kind of go through what they've got here. A commercial site. Most companies have websites to promote or give information about their products or services. Although these sites often have relevant information, they are sometimes biased. If the site makes claims that seem too good to be true, see whether other sites support or refute the claim. A lot of them will see one-sided, so that's all they're going to advertise, so you just want to be careful with what you're doing there. Organizations, like other companies, usually have websites to promote themselves or provide information. Although they are not always selling something, organizations often have an agenda, which may mean that the information on the site is biased. So again, they may be bringing you information of one side and that's their side. So again, you just want to be careful of what you're looking at and making sure you're getting the most accurate information. News sites. More and more people get their news online instead of the traditional ways of newspapers and TV. News websites are usually updated frequently, and older articles may be kept on the site for years. If you find an article through a Google search, make sure you check the date. Nothing worse than finding an article to find out that it was printed a year prior, so it's not even current anymore, and now you're going to have to go back to that search and find what you're looking for. Blog is short for a weblog. Blogs are usually updated frequently, sometimes several times a day. They are often a good place to find the largest information about a company, person, or topic, like technology. There are many different types of blogs, such as news, hobbies, humor, photography, and more. So if you're interested in blogging, then you can kind of get an idea by searching for them and looking to see what it takes to get going and what some other bloggers are doing. Wiki is a site that lets users add or modify content. The most famous example is Wikipedia, which is an encyclopedia. The quality of articles in a Wiki can vary widely, but well-written ones always provide links to original resources where you can verify the information. Huge controversy over Wikipedia for several years now is that people can go in and add and change content, so you wouldn't want to use the information without researching a little bit more thoroughly to make sure what they're telling you is exactly the way that it happened or it is factual. We're going to talk a little bit more about Wikipedia later on in the class, but I wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that. Many schools have their own websites. In addition to having general information about the school, the website will usually have pages that are written by teachers to supplement their lesson plans. While these pages often contain useful information, you should be aware that the website might also contain pages created by students, which may be less reliable. So you're just going to want to be careful about your search and what you are getting out of it, but schools do have their own type of websites. Scholarly sites. For some subjects, you may want to search for scholarly works, such as articles or academic journals. To find these types of works, you can do a search at Google Scholar. You also might want to check with your local library to find out if what kind of online databases or online resources they may offer to you that might have that scholarly. I know here in Indiana we have a resource called Inspire, and everything in there is academic and scholarly, so you don't have to worry about getting the not accurate information. All of it's factual, so you just want to be sure you're checking into that before you're using any of it. Databases are collections of information, often from different sources. One example is the Internet Movie Database, which is useful if you want to find other movies that an actor has been in. There's tons of different kinds of databases out there, so you'll just want to research for the best ones for you. A forum is a website where people can have discussions. Each discussion is known as a thread. The thread will usually stay on the site long after the discussion has ended, and threads will often come up in a Google search. Questions and answers are very similar to forums, except there is more emphasis on answering the original question instead of just discussing it. An example of a question and answer site would be like Yahoo Answers. You can type in a question and boom, Yahoo Answers will pop up and you'll get tons of hits. There's other ones out there, but Yahoo is one of the most popular ones. So this was all about the different types of web pages that are out there. I just wanted you to be kind of aware of them as you start your searching and looking around so you can determine what kind of a site you are on.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about organizing your search. Being search savvy isn't just about finding information online. It's also about being able to save and organize the sites you've searched for so you can easily find them again later. The simplest way to do this is to bookmark a site. Every web browser lets you create bookmarks, sometimes called favorites, and they also let you rename and organize your bookmarks. Even though it takes a second to create a bookmark, it can save you time because you won't have to search the web to find it again. So we're going to actually kind of talk about it for a second. The bookmarks, it is a little bit of a journey to find them there. Pretty much all of your web pages will have a little star. So if you push on that star, it's either going to add it to your favorites or it's going to put it in your bookmarks. Okay, depends on what you're using. If you're using Internet Explorer, it's a favorites, and if you are using Chrome or Firefox, it's bookmarks. So it's the same thing, it's just called something different. So they all have the star, so if you push on the star, a lot of times in Internet Explorer, when you push on the star, it's going to say add to favorites, and then you're going to just hit save, and then you'd be able to go to the favorites and find them. On the other ones, you have at the very top right corner, after you've added it as a bookmark by clicking on that star, in the upper right hand corner you have either 3 dots or 3 lines. If you click on that, it's going to take you to a menu. One of those menu options should be bookmarks. Then you push on that, and then all of the sites that you've put it in your bookmarks are going to be listed right there for you. If you need help creating bookmarks or favorites to organize your searches so you have instant contact so you don't have to keep looking them up over and over and over, please call me here at the library at 244-5541. I'll do the best I can if you're out of state and not in my domain to explain it to you over the phone the best of my ability. If you are close to me, we can schedule you a one-on-one appointment and get that all set up for you. Either way, I can help you. So don't feel like that this is a big deal, because really it isn't. It's just helping you get organized, and I want to make life a lot easier on you. So make sure you just get in contact with me if that's something you're interested in. But making sure that you can organize is very, very important. That way you don't have as much searching, you're not online looking for things, and you haven't lost anything. Alright, so this was all about organizing your search and how you can create a bookmark or a favorite.
The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I get on my computer and I open up Google. That's my homepage, and that's where I start.
I type in weather, Cincinnati, and it comes up instantly.
First thing I do is check out the 49ers.
The Bears.
The Cowboys.
The Saints.
I'm following the presidential race, and narrowing by time keeps me up to date fast.
I just type in what movie and my zip code and it'll pop up. There's this theater with this time. It's so fast.
My mind still works in Celsius sometimes. It's really helpful for us to have the conversion function.
I use the calculator a lot. I'm constantly giving out price quotes.
I'm always putting in how many ounces are in a cup, or things like that.
I like to try new restaurants. Finding it on Google is really easily done.
We found a number of recipes that use pineapples. Maddie doesn't like raisins, so we actually deselected the recipes with raisins. So what came up were foods that the kids liked. I always come back to my tried and true Google.
I like to use the Google Voice function to do my searches. There's a little thing that looks like a microphone, so I'll press that and then just speak right into it.
Waikiki Beach.
It comes up with a search just like you would get when you type something in.
I saw this plant that I really, really loved, and we took a picture, and we were able to figure out what it was, so it's now on our balcony.
I can use Google Search to search by the subject, getting black and white pictures instead of just colored photos.
Google can make you look like a genius.
Google makes things so easy.
Now if Google could just make my son eat his vegetables.
It's truly amazing.
There are several ways to conduct a Google search. If you're new to Google, take a look at the options that I've got listed here for you. You'll want to keep them in mind when you start exploring search strategies. Okay, so and there's a video that's going to be affiliated with the search strategies here in a moment. But option 1 is google.com. Go to Google's homepage at google.com. From there, conducting a search is straightforward. Just type your search terms in the box, then click the Google search button or press enter on your keyboard. If your search results start loading before you finish typing, don't panic. By default, you may have a feature called Google Instant enabled. If you don't like the way Google Instant works, you can disable it later by customizing your search engines, which we could do that together if you needed that help. So then you've got option 2, which is your browser's search bar. Depending on your browser's default search engine, you may be able to conduct a Google search right from the browser's interface. So for example, in Google Chrome, you can use the address bar. In Firefox, which I have pictured there for you, you can use the address bar on the built-in search bar. Both of these options can be convenient if you remember to use them. If the default search engine for your browser is something else, for example, Yahoo or Bing, you can easily change it to Google. And I had talked to you about that earlier in the class, so if you need help with that, you can let me know. And then option 3 is the Google Search app. If you have a mobile device, you can download the Google Search app for the iOS or the Android. Because it is optimized for Google Search, you may find that the app is faster or easier to use than your device's web browser. So you just kind of want to take a look at that and see what you're working with and some of those options that you have for yourself. But these are the 3 different ways that you can actually search Google, because I told you that's what we're primarily dealing with. But a lot of these can still be used in your Yahoo and your Bing the same way. So I would encourage you to use the different kinds.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
We're going to talk about how to do an effective search online. If your browser has a built-in search bar or supports searching in the address bar, you can use that for convenience. Or you can go straight to the search engine you want. I'm going to use Google. The truth is, Google is a very good search engine. Most of the time, it can find what you're looking for even if you don't know what you're doing. But it can't hurt to learn a few strategies. Say we're looking for recipes online, but we're not sure what we want to make. We'll keep it simple and just start typing the word recipes. This prompts the search box to give us a list of suggestions. Suggestions are great because they can give you an idea for a search that you might not have thought of. You can click one of the suggestions or just keep typing. As you can see, you don't need to worry about case, punctuation, or even using complete sentences. Hopefully we'll find some good cookie recipes. These are our search results. There are also some ads at the top, and sometimes you'll find them to the right too. If you see what you're looking for, you can click the link. If not, you may want to reconsider your search terms. For example, you could make them more specific or search for different words altogether. Suppose we don't want cookies with chocolate in them. We can tell the search engine to exclude those results by typing a hyphen or a minus sign, followed by the word we want to exclude. Notice that there is no space after the hyphen, so it's recipes, cookies, minus chocolate. This should have gotten rid of all the chocolate chip cookie recipes. There's still a pretty good variety to choose from. But I see there's sort of a sugar cookie recipe here, and that sounds really good. So I'm going to try searching for that to get as many recipes as I can. We want to put sugar cookies in quotes, so Google searches for that specific phrase. Otherwise, we might get results for other types of cookies that just happen to have sugar in the ingredients. These results look good because we have a lot of recipes to choose from, and they're all pretty much what we're looking for. However, we could refine them even more using the options below the search box. Here we have different types of content to choose from, like images, maps, and shopping. To view even more options, open the menu that says More. This is also where you can access special search tools that'll let you filter your results. These options will change depending on what you're looking for, giving you even more control over the pages, resources, and other things that you find. For now, why don't we do a visual search for cookie recipes by switching over to images? Now we can just browse through pictures to see if there's anything we like. These look really good. But wouldn't it be great if we could just watch a video to learn how to make cookies? We can do that. All we have to do is switch over to videos, again using the options near the top of the page. This will give us a lot of how-to videos, which should really come in handy. Now you can experiment with your own search terms. And just remember that most of the time, more specific search terms yield better results.
Here is a page for Google search tips. I've also included this on our main class under the comments, so you could be able to print this off for yourself. But this is a Google search cheat sheet, and these are just some things to keep in mind when you are searching and some tips. So you definitely want to keep it simple. Instead of using complete sentences, search for keywords or phrases to find what you're looking for. You don't need to worry about correct spelling, the case, or the punctuation, because a lot of times it'll go ahead and go in and fix that for you. Take suggestions. As you type, Google will try to guess what you're searching for and will offer a list of search suggestions. If you see the search term you want, then you would just be able to click on it. Suggestions can also give you ideas for search terms that you may not have thought of. So that's another good idea. Try different search terms. You may need to reconsider your search term if you're not finding what you're looking for. For example, if you could make them more specific by adding more keywords, or you could try different keywords altogether. So if you're not getting the hit you want off of one way, then just keep trying different ways. Exclude words. Use a hyphen at the beginning of the word to exclude search results that contain it. For example, a search for macaroni and cheese will yield results that contain the word macaroni but not cheese. So you can kind of play around with that a little bit to see what's going to work for you. Searching for an exact phrase. If you want to search for an exact phrase, you can put quotes around your search term. So for example, free online games. However, the method Google ideas to search for information has become so effective, this strategy may not be very necessary. So again, it's one of those, if you start typing it in, it'll probably give you a suggestion. So you may not need it, but it's good to know. Refine your results to view different types of content that match your search term. For example, images, maps, or news articles. Use the option that appear above the search results. There you'll also find dynamic search tools that change to accommodate whatever you're searching for. So you have quite a few different options. And again, I'm going to have this cheat sheet on the class, so you'll be able to print it out so you have a copy of that while you're doing your searching, so you can have something to refer to. But this is a really great tool that you can use to help you get through Google searching and to help you understand the searching of Google.
Now we're going to talk about understanding a web page. I want you to be familiar with what you're looking at when you're actually out there searching around. So this little interactive came to us from gcflearnfree.org, and we're actually going to be using another one very similar to this, but I just want to kind of go over these in order here. Other Google products, that's going to be up in the upper left-hand corner. You're going to use this navigation bar to access other Google products and services like YouTube, Gmail, and Blogger. Alternatively, some of the options can help you find different types of content like images or maps. To view more options, you would click More at the far end of the list. This one here is your search box. You use the search box to continue your investigation, search for different keywords to refine your search results, or try a different topic altogether. You don't have to go back to the Google homepage to search again, so that's really nice. Down here we've got types of content, looking for something specific. Use this toolbar to navigate between different types of content like videos, news, recipes, and much more. Each one will show you resources that are related to your search term. And we're going to take a little bit closer look at another interactive that GCF Learn Free has for us as well. Tools and filters. Use the search tools menu to customize your results even more. Change your location and get better local search results. Filter your results by time to find content that was posted recently or sometimes longer ago. The features in this menu are dynamic. This means they can change depending on the type of content you're searching for, so you always have the most useful tools at your disposal. The gear icon, or what I like to refer to as the gear wheel, gives you access to several different features, including your search settings, your search help, and more. Changing your search settings is a great way to customize your experience with Google. For example, you could adjust the Safe Search filter, which controls how much explicit content you see, or change the number of search results that appear on per page. Okay, so here we've got an ad. The truth about the results page is that a larger part of it is made up of ads, but that's okay. While some ads can be distracting, misleading, or downright annoying, others can be helpful. The method Google uses to determine which ads will be relevant to you and your search is very effective and generally provides useful results. Just remember to use your judgment and evaluate everything you see. Just because a website paid to post an ad doesn't mean it's the best or the most reliable source. So you just want to be careful there. More results. Sometimes if Google finds results that seem like they may be extra helpful, they appear here. In this example, we have a map of a nearby store that sells office supplies. Ads sometimes appear here as well. So you can have your ads in this column as well, and that's what most of these are, minus this map here. And then your search results. Was your search successful? The center of the page is where you will find those search results. These results can include web pages, images, and many other types of content that have some relevance to what you're looking for. To view a search result, you just click on the one you want. And normally you would just click on the blue highlighted lines that are available for you there. Related searches. In short, this part of the results page shows you what other people are searching for when they use search terms that are familiar to yours. If you need help refining your search, this is a great place to look for ideas. And then, of course, you have your page navigation. Remember to scroll to the bottom of the navigation pane so you can click on next page to see the results. Google is so effective. You'll usually find what you're looking for within the first few results, but sometimes you just need to dig a little bit deeper. So this is a type of your website or web page. This is what it looks like primarily and the different kinds of content. So you can go ahead and minimize this now and get yourself on the internet, get into Google and see what you can find there. Okay, so we're going to just move right along here, and this is exploring types of content. So we're just going to kind of look at what GCFLearnFree.org's got for us here on this one. We're just going to look at all the content right up here. So under web, you'll find the results from all of the content types, including images, maps, places, etc., but mostly web pages that match your search terms. It may help to think of this option as a summary, plus a preview of what you can find under some of the other content types. Images. Google Images lets you browse pictures that match your search terms if you want to see the full-size version of the image, as well as the website it came from. All you have to do is click on the one you want. You can also click search tools to filter the results by subject, size, color, and more. Under maps, the results under maps can be very useful, especially if you're searching for something nearby. You can also use Google to get directions, plan a road trip, or look up points of interest around the world. In this particular example, Google has found quite a few local businesses that offer boarding, training, and other services for dog owners. So that's a pretty good search for them. And we've got shopping. Here you'll find results for products that match your search terms. You can even use the search tools to filter the results by price, brand name, and whether or not the product is in stock nearby. This is a great resource for shopping online when you don't know where to find what you're looking for. News, you can visit the news, view news articles that match your search terms. Most of the results come from well-known websites like CNN.com, but can also come from other sources like blogs and local news providers. In this particular example, Google has found a wide variety of articles that mention the word dog. If we were to search for something more specific, such as a Westminster dog show, the results would be even more useful. And more. You would click here to search for videos, books, places, blogs, and more. So that's what the and more is for. So this is all about the content, and it's also showing you that web page again, so you have a better look at it and so forth. So I hope you have a better understanding of web page, the contents, and what you're going to find in there. So now we're going to talk about advanced search strategies. Contrary to what you might think, advanced search strategies aren't just for advanced users. They're for everyone. Whether you have a lot of experience with Google or just a little, the only tool you need is Google's advanced search page. You can access it from the results page by clicking the gear icon, or that little gear wheel I was telling you about, in the upper right-hand corner. If you've never seen the advanced search page, you may be surprised by some of the things that you can do. For example, you can narrow your results by language or reading level. You can also limit your search results to pages that have a certain domain, such as .gov or .edu. So we're going to take a look at this little interactive that GCF Learn Free has given to us. And this is about the advanced search tool. So right here we've got Find Pages with. These options should look familiar if you're already reviewed the basic search strategies. Here you can refine your results using techniques like search for and exact phrase. You can also search for pages that contain one of several relevant search terms. For example, discount or deal. You must enter at least one search term in this section in order to use the options below under the narrow your results by. Okay, so this one's Find Pages with. Then you're going to be able to narrow your results by, and you would use this section to narrow your results using much more specific criteria. Remember, you must enter at least one separate term in this section above in order to use these options. So we're going to just kind of go through each one of these here. You've got your language. You are a native English speaker. What if you're helping a friend find information in French? You could use this information to search for web content that's written in another language, from the Africans to the Vietnamese and everything in between. So there's tons of different languages that you can pick from. Then you've got your region. Depending on what you're looking for, limiting your search to a specific region can lead to some interesting results. Take the American Revolutionary War, for example, compared to the U.S. Do you think web pages in the United Kingdom would have a slightly different perspective? Probably. Of course, you can also use this feature to search for more general information from different regions as well. Last update. If the information you found seems out of date, you may want to narrow your results to pages that have been updated more recently. Your options range from the past 24 hours to pages that have been updated within the past year. So you have different options that you can use there. Site or domain, use this option to search a single website, for example, about.com, or a certain type of website. You can do The latter by limiting your search results to one domain. The domains are as follows. .edu is your college, universities, and other schools. .org is organizations. .gov are agencies in the government. Terms appearing by default, Google searches for information that contains your search terms anywhere in the page. If you want to limit your search to one part of the page, for example, the page title, you can do that here. This may be useful for locating something very specific, like a website that you've been to before, but you can't remember the address. So that's what it would be useful for. Safe Search, Google Safe Search filter lets you control how much explicit sexual content you see. Strict gives you the most protection, but may inadvertently filter results that you want to see. Moderate is a good compromise because it filters the most extreme results, but still gives you access to others. So you can decide what level you want to be on. Reading level, the reading level option can be useful in some very interesting ways. Of course, you can use it to choose a reading level you're most comfortable with, but you can also use it to manipulate your results to find certain types of information. Say you're searching for higher level academic content, you're more likely to find it if you set the reading level to show only advanced results. So you have different options there you can go with. File type. Are you hoping to find a file that contains your search terms rather than a web page? Here you can find, you can search for PDFs, spreadsheets, Word documents, and other common file types. So you can just search directly for those. And your usage rights. In general, you're not allowed to copy and paste information that you find online and claim it as your own. However, there are some exceptions. For example, works in the public domain and content that's been licensed by the original author. With the usage rights option, you can search for this type of content. So there you go. This is all about the advanced searching and how you can get in there to look around for different kinds of advanced searching that might benefit you a little bit better.
So you still can't find what you're looking for? Sometimes it's not enough to know all the basic and advanced search strategies. If you still can't find what you're looking for, you may need to try different search terms, and this time really use your critical thinking skills. Let's take a look at some examples. So I'm going to read off some examples here. Let's say you're looking for a place where you could adopt a dog. What words do you think other people would use to describe that? Maybe shelter or rescue. You could even search for an adoption center by name. For example, Humane Society. The truth is, shelter and rescue are pretty common terms, both in popular culture and among people in the pet adoption community. This means they're more likely to appear on a web page than place to adopt a dog. Notice how the results slightly make it less official. So you can see here how we've got Humane Society as a picture there for you. But by taking some of those words away, it doesn't seem as official. So you just want to be careful with your wording. If you know the popular terms for the information you're looking for, search for that instead. If you don't know the popular term, look closely at your original search results to see what you can find. If you notice any keywords that appear more frequently than others, it might be a clue. All right, so that's one example. And then you've got another example. In certain parts of the country, fall is one of the most beautiful times of year. If you're a leaf peeper, someone who's willing to travel in order to view or photograph fall foliage, you need to know when the leaves are going to be in their most colorful. Of course, you could search for fall foliage forecast, but this may not produce the most comprehensive results. This is because there are so many other words you could use to describe what you're looking for. For example, instead of fall, search for autumn. Instead of foliage, search for leaves or color. Instead of forecast, search for predictions, calendar. or peak, shorthand for when the colors are changing to be at their most vibrant. In short, try a few synonyms. If your original search terms were unsuccessful, you may need to experiment with different combinations and then compare the results to figure out which keywords worked best. You can also use the advanced search strategy to search for multiple terms, for example, fall or autumn. Again, if you don't know any synonyms, look at your original result, review some of the language used there to see what kind of ideas that they are giving you. So these are a couple of different examples you can use to try to look for something if you're having a hard time finding it. Here is another Google Fast Fact sheet that you can use to figure out conversions. They have it where you can do a convert to enter measurement, convert currencies, which would be your money, calculate anything, get definitions, get the time, sports scores and schedules, get sunrise and sunset times, track packages, locate earthquake activity, and get real-time stat quotes. I've gone ahead and included this into a printable on the class itself, so you can look at that on the comments section. But I just wanted you to kind of see some of the things that you can do on Google if you're looking for certain types of things, especially if you're cooking and you need some type of measurement, or you're going to another country and you need to figure out the conversion of currency. Being able to calculate equations, that's pretty important. A lot of people are into the earthquake activity, so knowing where those are. Sunrise and sunset times are very nice. We're all into different kinds of sports or some type of scheduling, so that would be a good one too. So this is just a little bit of a cheat sheet just to kind of let you see what all the things you can do on Google are.
All right, so up to now, we've just been kind of talking about searching online, the different search engines and things along those lines. I want to talk to you now about the anatomy of a web page, and that's what this is. And this is brought to us from gcflearnfree.org. It's a fantastic resource. I highly recommend them. And we're just going to kind of pick apart the anatomy of this particular web page. So we're just going to start at the top. This is your web address, or the URL. It's a unique string of characters that tells exactly where the page is located on the web. The main part of the URL is called the domain. And in this example, the domain is infoworld.com. That's what they've chosen to use for our example. This is your header. Many pages have a header that has a logo and or the name of their page. So that's what that would be. This is your search box that allows you to search for other pages within this website. A lot of your different websites will have different search boxes that you can go into to help you kind of get around what you're looking for. This is the navigation bar. Most web pages have a navigation bar near the top of the page that lets you navigate to other parts of the website. Some pages also have a navigation bar on the left or the right side. And we'll go down. This is an advertisement. Many websites are supported by ads. Ads may appear anywhere on the page, even in the middle of the main content. Generally, it's best to ignore the ads as they usually won't help you find information you're looking for. However, ads can sometimes be relevant, for example, if you're shopping online. So you really wouldn't need to use any of those ads. Social plugins. If you use Facebook, Twitter, or other social networking sites, you can share the page with your friends by clicking on the social plugin icon. Not all websites use the social plugins, but I'm telling you, a lot of them do. That's a lot of the mainstreaming right now is through your social plugins. So you're probably going to find it more than you won't find it. This is your main content. Most of the time, the main content is the most relevant part of the page. In fact, you can often just read the main content and just ignore everything else. The main content may be an article, recipe, video, photo, or something else. So this would be the main content right in the middle. Links to other articles. Most news sites and blogs display links to other articles. In this particular example, it is displaying the most popular articles on the site, but some websites will display articles that are related to the one that you're reading. So you can see that they have a list of them for you there. And this is your footer. At the bottom of the page, you can often find an About Us link that tells you more about the website or company. There may also be a contact link that you can use to contact the company. Some sites have links to legal information, such as the site's privacy policy or other types of information. So this is pretty much how the majority of web pages are set up, just to kind of let you know. And how to read it. So let's say that you found a web page that might have what you're looking for. Should you just start reading the entire page until you find it? Well, no. Most of the time you don't need to read the page from top to bottom. Instead, you should look for most relevant parts of the web page and ignore everything else. So that's what we went over in this section. I showed you the common parts of the web page, as well as a video that's going to be following here on tips for reading a web page. So you're going to have some really great examples of how to read this web page and the anatomy of a web page to be able to pull it apart for yourself and to help you kind of get along on that. So enjoy the video. I think it's going to be very beneficial to you, and I highly encourage you to explore the web page that you're looking at.
Reading a web page isn't exactly like reading a book. Web pages can have a lot of information, and most of the time you don't need to read all of it. It can sometimes be challenging to find just the information you need without getting overwhelmed with everything else on the page. In this video, we're going to go over some basic tips to help you read web pages more quickly and more effectively. First, you'll need to locate the main content, since that's where the most relevant information will usually be. Sometimes much of the page is taken up by ads, site navigation, and social media plugins, but for now, try to mentally block those parts out and just focus on the main content. Instead of reading word by word, skim the page to find just the information that you're looking for. One way to do this is to just read the first sentence of each paragraph until you get to something that looks relevant. Some articles have headings before each section, and you can use those to help you skim faster. If a heading doesn't sound relevant, simply skip down to the next one. For example, if I'm only interested in laptop security, I don't need to read any of the other sections in this article. If you really want to speed up your web browsing, you can get your browser to search a page for you using the Control-F shortcut. Just hold down the Control key, or the Command key if you're using a Mac, and then press F, and a search box will appear just above the page, or just below it, depending on your browser. Then type the word or phrase that you're looking for, and let's say I'm only interested in apps that are free, and if your browser finds a match, it will skip to that part of the page. If the word appears more than once, you can press Enter, and your browser will find the next match. Now earlier I said to mentally block out everything except the main content, but now you may want to focus on the site's navigation bar and search box. These are useful when you found a great website, but the page you're looking at isn't quite what you're looking for. You can use the navigation bar to browse through the site, or if the site has a search box, you can just type what you're looking for, click Search, and then see if any of the results look relevant. Sometimes you may get to a site where you're not really finding anything useful. If that happens, you can use your browser's back button to go to the previous page, or you can close the window or tab that you have open. If you started with a Google search, you can look at some of the other results, or you can start a new search with different search terms. Of course, once you've found a page with a lot of good information, you may want to spend more time there and give it a more thorough read.
Okay, so now it's time for us to try some of these examples that we have been given from gcflearnfree.org, as well as some things that I've added in for our class today. So we're actually going to go ahead and go to these sites here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the link, and this takes us straight to the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which is exactly where we want to be. And basically we're just going to kind of critique it a little bit. And some of these questions that it asks us is, where is the main content? So in this particular website that we can see here, it looks like our main content is going to be right in the center of everything, and they all have nice headers to show us exactly that content. Okay, so that is where your main content is going to be. You also have all these sub-contents that are on the side. This particular one is the main screen that they have. This talks about your email etiquette. How do I compose an email? What are some guides for continuing email conversation? What sorts of information should be sent via email? And things along those lines. So how quickly can we find information on this page? I think we can find it pretty quickly. We have all these links for us here on the side that'll get us where we want to go. So if we're wanting to do some essay writing and we push on that, now keep in mind that anytime you see little arrows on the sides, that just means that there's more content to it. Okay, so that means that if I push on this, it's going to come down and it's going to give me some more options. Okay, so you're going to want to be looking for that when you start exploring the web pages that you're working with. How would you click if you wanted to learn how to write an essay? That's funny that was our question. So we would click on essay writing, but let's change it a little bit. What about sentence variety? So here we've got some examples of different kinds of sentence varieties on this particular web page, as well as paragraphs and paragraphing. What it is, how you use it, what's the elements, what's a topic sentence, things along those lines. So this is a great tool for an online writing lab, the Purdue Online Writing Lab. And of course we could just go ahead and go straight to other things if we needed to. Of course there is etiquette for email, so that's pretty important to learn about the etiquette towards email. Establishing theses and strong arguments for whether you're doing debating or just writing a paper that requires a thesis. So this was the Purdue Online Writing Lab. So let's go ahead and close that one out. And we're going to go to the angelfish species profile page, and we're going to click on that now. And while we're waiting for that to load up here, just kind of be thinking about what the main content is. Does it contain ads? What about links to other pages? And what is the content trying to tell us? Now, this just keeps kind of whirling around and around, and I would imagine that it's going to come up here at any moment, and there it is. All right. So here, where is our main content? Again, our main content looks like it's pretty much in the center. All right. This one doesn't look as user-friendly as the Purdue OWL that we looked at for the writing lab. It was set up pretty well. Then you've got some other options you can go. Right now we are on the angelfish stats, but we could change that to saltwater fish if we needed to. So that is what it's doing here. So you have different tabs of things that you can do inside of this. The ads on this are going to be right over here on the side. These are all ads, and actually I've got one that popped up down here on us. But I'm not going to click on it because then it's going to open. But we do have ads here on the side. So which part of the page, you can get links to other pages on here. And it looks like these have some similar articles that go with it. You've got top products right down here. We can find some other links that might be able to help us out and get us where we want to be. So I just wanted us to kind of explore a little bit. And it does ask us a question. According to the webpage, what types of vegetables will an angelfish eat? So let's go back to our freshwater fish here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and go back to the beginning where we started from, because here's our angelfish stats. And we would just have to kind of read through here to find out what kind of vegetables an angelfish can actually eat. And I'm not seeing it right off the top of my head, but I'm sure that if we continued to read the article, we would get all of the information that we needed. So I just wanted to kind of go over those two options for you about the Purdue OWL as well as the profile page that we looked at here, just so you kind of got an idea of the different layouts of different sites. So why don't you right now go in and find what you're looking for to kind of help you out and get you going for a particular site that you might be interested in. Just kind of go in there and look around and see what's going to benefit you. All right? How to judge information online. If you're looking for information, the internet has a lot of it. The problem is you can't trust every website you find. You'll need to evaluate each website to decide whether it's reliable. We're going to go over some skills to help you do that right now. So as part of our introduction, to use the internet effectively, you'll need to know how to investigate a website. We're going to click on these tabs below to learn some of the questions you should ask yourself when you're viewing a website. Is the information relevant? No matter how good a website is, you should always ask yourself whether it contains the information you're looking for. Remember, just because the site comes up in a Google search doesn't mean it's relevant. For example, if you're searching for information about the history of skateboards, a site that sells skateboards may not have what you're looking for exactly. So just keep that in mind. What is the site's purpose? There are many types of sites on the internet: encyclopedias, online stores, blogs, and humor sites all have different purposes. Determining the site's purpose can help you decide how reliable it is. Check out the About page to see what the site's purpose is. Keep in mind, if a site wants to conceal their true purpose, the About page may be misleading. What is the site's audience? You may be able to tell based on the tone and the topics that it focuses on. Is the site trying to persuade you to buy or do something? Sometimes the site's purpose may not be obvious at first. For example, theonion.com may appear to be a news site, but it's actually a humor site. So you just want to take all of those with a grain of salt and be very, very careful with the site and finding out what its purpose is. Is the site biased? In order to get the most reliable information, it's best to stick to unbiased sources. News organizations, encyclopedias, and other sources have traditionally tried to stay unbiased. This helps them build a reputation as a trusted source. Most websites don't try to stay unbiased like a newspaper would, and that's okay for casual web browsing. However, if you're trying to find reliable information, it can be a real problem. For example, if a news blog is biased, it may distort the story or leave out important information. How much opinion does this site have? Is it enough to raise a red flag? Many sites have ads. Although ads usually don't mean that the site is biased, on some sites the majority of ads may have a political or ideological bias. This can be a clue that the site itself is biased. Look at some of the other pages on the site. Does there seem to be a bias to the site as a whole? If you're not sure whether the information is correct, try searching for it on Google. This can often reveal whether it is a hoax, scam, or a common misconception. So make sure you're getting factual information and not just one side of it. What is the site's top-level domain? Every web address has a top-level domain. Some common examples are .com, .org, .gov, and .edu, although there are many more. .gov is a government site. These are usually pretty reliable. .edu can be a school, college, or university. However, some web pages could be student projects, and these are not always reliable. Try to determine whether the page was written by a student, teacher, or a school administrator. .org is an organization. Depending on the organization's mission, it could be biased or unbiased. Try to find more information about the organization and their purpose. .com is typically used by commercial sites. However, it's also used by many other types of sites, so it doesn't really tell you whether the site is reliable or not. You just want to do a lot of researching when you're ready to do that kind of stuff. Is the author reliable? Online articles don't always say who the author is. That doesn't mean those sites are less reliable. However, if there is an author listed, it's a good idea to find out more information about the author. Does the author have credentials that make them more reliable? Has the author written other articles or books? Are they biased or unbiased? Keep in mind, even if the author isn't an expert, they can still be reliable as long as they do careful research. For example, a librarian might write an excellent article about biology even if they don't have a science background. So you just want to make sure that your author is reliable and it's not a biased situation where it's one-sided and that you're getting all of the information. Is the information current? Many websites will include a date at the top or the bottom of an article. This can tell you how current the information is. For some subjects, such as biographies or historical figures, this may not matter as much. However, for technology, news, politics, and other subjects, it may be very important to have the most current information available. In the example to the right, the article talks about the older version of the iPad, so it may not be relevant to your thinking of buying a new one. So especially if you're wanting to buy products, you definitely want to do your research and get some comparison prices and quotes. And does the site have a good reputation? You can't always rely on the site itself. Since many sites try very hard to disguise their purpose, you may need to get a second opinion. In other words, see what other people are saying about the website. Try searching Google for the name of the site organization. Keep in mind, you may not find any second opinions about the site, and that's okay. What do other sites say about the site, if anything? Is the site generally seen as biased or as an unreliable source? So again, when you are ready to start doing some major searching, you want to be able to evaluate your website, and these are going to be some questions that are going to really help you to kind of get through that. Evaluating websites takes practice. We've already looked at some basic techniques you can use, but these techniques may not work on every website you find. You'll often need to use your critical thinking skills to make a good judgment. So now we're going to kind of take some practice, and we're going to practice evaluating some websites. So the Pacific Northwest tree octopus is what we're going to talk about. So let's take a look at the Pacific Northwest tree octopus. If you like, you can go to this address and check out the site yourself. And that's what this little link is here. So you would need to type that entire link in. If you want to do that, I will give us a couple of seconds here, and you can go ahead and get it all typed in. You might want to go ahead and pause the video while you do so, and then just hit play when you're ready to follow along with us here. So here, according to this site, there is a type of octopus that spends much of its life in trees. So we can see the content there. Here's our main content. We've got some tabs that will get us into some other options as well. It sounds pretty interesting. It has a scientific name, and there it is. And there is plenty of scientific sounding information about it. There's a nice photo of it, and we can see it right there, all ready to go. On the left, there are links to articles on science websites such as nature.com. So that kind of goes along with some of the stuff we were talking about. It even has a video from Merriam-Webster that seems to add credibility. So that's kind of nice. And that's under a different tab, which is your frequently asked questions tab. So far, it looks like this may be a good resource for information about the tree octopus. We could probably write a blog article to raise awareness of its plight. But just to be sure, let's dig a little deeper. The photo may look convincing, but somebody could have just combined a photo of a regular octopus and a tree. That happens all the time. That's what Photoshop does. The kind of thing is pretty common online. You see it there? I mean, come on. That's pretty funny, though. Some of the other photos on the site look pretty fake. Yeah, I would say so. The video from Merriam-Webster is real, but it doesn't even mention the tree octopus specifically. So it actually doesn't add any credibility to this site at all. Is it possible that this site is a hoax? Let's see if there's any more information online. We'll do a Google search for Pacific Northwest tree octopus. You can already see that Wikipedia is calling it a hoax right there. It says the Pacific Northwest tree octopus is an internet hoax created in 1998 by this particular person there. Many other sites also state that it is a hoax as well. Now that we're pretty sure it's a hoax, we can take another look at the original site. It's actually pretty funny if you're in on the joke. But it's a good thing we didn't write that blog article. There are a lot of websites that look reliable at first, but if you dig deeper, you may find that they're not a good resource after all. Investigate each website you find. If something seems fishy, you may need to do more research to know for sure. And that was from gcflearnfree.org. So that is the parts of evaluating a website. You definitely want to verify information. So let's say your friend sends you an email containing an amazing fact or story. Even if you trust your friend, it doesn't mean that the email is true. Chain emails can quickly spread around the world as they often contain misinformation, hoaxes, political propaganda, and worse. Instead of simply forwarding the email to your other friends, take a moment to verify the information is true. So that's pretty important. So this was all about evaluating a website, and that's what we've been kind of working on here. So I hope that this kind of helps you when you're ready to evaluate some of the websites that you're going to be working with. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video and get in on a website that you would like to learn a little bit more about and see what kind of information you can find on that particular website. Okay, so we are now going to try this little activity that they've given us, and I'm going to click on this website, and we're going to find out what the purpose of the site is. So you might want to write some of this down as we get ready to go through it. Is the dihydrogen monoxide a real substance, and do you think it should be banned? So we're going to ask ourselves a question about that. I'm just kind of writing this down as we go as well, just so we can make sure we get the questions correct when we go in and kind of explore around. And can you find other websites that support the claims made? So we're going to do some research. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this now. And now here is our site. Boy, it's not very user-friendly. I don't feel as though. Okay, so what's the purpose of this? And it looks like the purpose of this is to inform people about different types of environmental issues, as well as the dihydrogen monoxide. I've never really heard of that, but okay, so it's about the environment and cancer and things like that. So see, I'm picking up things as I'm just kind of reading. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this because it wants to know if it's real. It says it's a colorless, odorless chemical compound, also referred to by some as dihydrogen oxide, hydrogen. Some of these words I just can't say, so we're just going to kind of move on with that. But you get the idea. It's all about this compound and this component. So what we want to know is it real? And according to them, should I be concerned? So according to this, it's a colorless, odorless compound. And it's a poisonous compound such as sulfuric acid. and things along those lines. It looks like we have tons of links over here that could get us connected to some more information about it. Why haven't I heard about this before? Because before it used to be considered minor according to them, and they've even included FEMA, CDC, and the FDA into this. What are the dangers? You could die due to inhalation, things like that. I'm just kind of briefing myself. What is the link between that and school violence? So let's do a little bit more research on this, and I am going to highlight this, and now I'm going to copy it, and now we're just going to kind of go to Google, and I'm going to paste it in there and see what we get. Here's some facts, and that comes from that same website we were at. Wikipedia has some information. They're calling it a hoax. Let's see what Snopes says, because actually Snopes is actually one of those sites that you can use to kind of help you determine whether some information is factual or not. So verifying information with Snopes, let's say your friend sends you an email containing an amazing fact or story. Even if you trust your friend, it doesn't mean, we talked about all that. One of the easiest ways to do this is to go to Snopes.com and search for the story. Snopes is a well-known and trusted source for verifying internet rumors. A typical Snopes entry would tell you whether the information is true or false, and will also tell you where the story originated. So that's what this Snopes.com is. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And sure enough, it looks like it is, okay. Here it says that that is false. It says it's a dangerous chemical that should be banned. According to this, that's false. It's supposedly supposed to be toxic. But it looks like according to this, it is not toxic, and it contributes to the greenhouse effect. It could cause some burns. Says it's colorless and odorless. So it looks like there could be some concerns there, as well as some skepticism. So again, you're just going to want to kind of make sure that whatever you're reading into is actually a part of a factual-based thing. You don't want to be involved in something that isn't factual and be giving out incorrect information. So that was our try this, and you can do that with a lot of other kinds of websites that are out there. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video, find something that you'd like to research, and just kind of look into it and see what you can find out.
So what about Wikipedia? Reliable or not reliable? We've all heard the stories. Don't use Wikipedia because people add and change content all the time. It's not reliable. The information you get isn't going to be accurate, and things along those lines. The truth is, it depends on how you use Wikipedia. It can be a great starting point for your research, but it shouldn't assume that all the information is true. Instead, use the reference at the bottom of the article to find the original sources. Then you'll need to evaluate those sources to see whether they are reliable. Keep in mind that some Wikipedia articles are better than others. For example, try comparing the following two things. The bicycle article, if we went to a bicycle, is well organized and contains numerous references at the bottom. This is because many different people have worked on the article and it has gone through many revisions. Now, another type of article does not contain any references, so it's difficult to know whether it's reliable or not. Yes, it's a better source of information than most websites, and it's a good starting point for research. But no, because anyone can add or change information, even if they don't know what they're talking about. So you just want to be careful using Wikipedia. If you're going to be using Wikipedia, you want to make sure that you check into all those resources that are listed underneath your articles to make sure that they're all fact-based and that they're all going to work for what you're trying to do. You don't want to be putting out false information because you could start chaos or some type of a riot, who knows. But you don't want to be out there telling people things that aren't true. So just use Wikipedia with a grain of salt and make sure that you back up yourself with checking into the resources that they've used.
We are now going to evaluate a sample web page. Again, this is brought to us from gcflearnfree.org. And we're just going to kind of do this together. So we're going to evaluate a web page. When you're evaluating a web page, you'll need to gather clues before you can tell whether their page is reliable. So we're going to click on the labels that look like this to explore different parts of the web page. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And now they've broken everything up into labels. And let me see if I can move this down a bit. And we'll just start at the top. Does this author add credibility to the site? Think about that. Well, they're a doctor, so I would say they're pretty credible. No. There is no proof that she is a doctor or even a real person. It would be better if the site had information about her position or credentials. On the other hand, it's possible that she is a real doctor, but we don't really know that just by looking at the site. So my first assumption was, well, she's a doctor, but is she? Do we really know that? So we're unable to verify that. Okay. So here, do these footnotes add credibility to the site? The main purpose of vitamin K is to allow blood to clot if you get an injury. However, it may also help keep your bones strong and protect against other types of, well, I believe it says non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So do these footnotes add? I would say that they do. Yes, we can verify this information by going to the sites listed in the footnotes. Also, if the author goes to the trouble to include references, that shows that they care about the quality of the information. So that claim is supported. Are leafy greens a really good source of vitamin K? Especially leafy greens, kale, turnip greens, spinach, and broccoli are excellent resources. Well, we like to think that they are, but does this really tell us whether or not they are? There's really nothing supporting it. But according to this, yes, the information can be found on numerous websites, so the author doesn't really need a site to source this for. So this is a supported claim because we can actually go into another website and we can type this in and find out if in fact that is true. It says the vitamin K deficiency is extremely common in adults. Is this true? I would say that it is because we would be able to confirm that by going to different sites to find that out. But again, I'm wrong again. No, a Google search should return many reliable websites that state that vitamin K deficiency is very rare in adults. The article has stated something that is clearly untrue, and that's a bad sign. So we've got some misinformation there. Okay. Is it possible to verify that Christopher Columbus' story is true? When Christopher Columbus sailed the New World in 1492, the Native Americans showed him many plants, animals, and foods that had never been seen before. But one thing in particular caught his attention. The natives often made a soup that consisted of leafy greens, possibly kale, along with the root of the hibiscus plant. Hibiscus plant, which was first ground into a fine paste. Columbus noted his journal that the soup was delicious, but he noticed something even more remarkable about it. He always felt refreshed after eating it, and it also seemed to make wounds heal more quickly. Columbus was eager to bring his miraculous soup back to Europe, so he loaded several of these plants onto his ship for the return journey. When he arrived home, he attempted to make the soup, but found that it had lost its miraculous qualities. He correctly deducted the reason for this, the tropical climate and the rich sandy soils of the Caribbean greatly increased the roots of that plant. As a result, the soup did not catch on in Europe and it was eventually forgotten. Is it possible to verify? I believe that we could verify this. And again, I'm wrong. No, there is no information online that can verify these claims. It is possible that the story is true. However, it seems likely that such a remarkable story about a famous historical figure would appear on other sites. And apparently it does not. So we are unable to verify that. Is it possible to verify that the Caribbean hibiscus root contains special components? Scientists now understand that the Caribbean root contains special components that unlocks the power of vitamin K. In fact, no other root for this plant in the world has this quality. I would say that we would be able to verify that. No, there doesn't seem to be any information about this online. On the other hand, we're not able to disprove it either. Whether it's true or not, this claim is unsupported. So it's an unsupported claim. So again, we're just kind of picking this thing apart. Does this study sound credible? A study conducted in 2012 found that while many energy bars contained vitamin K, only K-Power energy bars allows your body to absorb it. No, to me it does not sound credible, but I've been wrong on most of them. Oh, yay. No, there is no information about who conducted the study. Second, the tone sounds a lot like an advertisement. This is either a biased study conducted by the company that makes K-Power energy bars, or it's completely made up. So we're going to call this a biased selection. Is this a fair statement? As you can see, eating an energy bar from one of the other leading brands won't benefit your body nearly as much as a K-Power energy. Furthermore, the vitamin K could actually harm your body. I would say that this is not a fair statement. No, this article is suggesting that other companies' energy bars are actually dangerous. This is a biased, unsupported attack. This article is probably not a reliable source for any information. So that's considered biased. So, I will have on conclusion, there is clearly a conflict of interest here. It seems that the author has fabricated a lot of information to try to get people to buy K-Power energy bars. It's possible that these energy bars are really good, but you probably shouldn't believe anything the article says about vitamin K or the Caribbean hibiscus plant. Of course, some of the information, I just can't say that word. So, of course, some of the information in the article is true and cites reliable sources. But it would be better to go directly to those sources to get more reliable information. Remember, just because a website sounds scientific or historical doesn't mean it's credible. Unless the information can be verified, it's possible that it's made up. In this case, the entire Christopher Columbus story was made up, along with some of the facts about vitamin K. And although the plant is often eaten or made into tea, the roots do not have any special connection to vitamin K. So that probably would have been something we wouldn't have known had we not done this. So I'm glad that we took the opportunity to go through and evaluate this web page together. So now you have a little bit better understanding of how a web page is constructed and how we would go about being able to find the answers. Okay, so we're going to try one more of these together, and we're actually going to go to these two different sites here. And these are the questions that we're going to be thinking about. What is each site's point of view? So you might want to write these down. We want to know the point of view when we get in there. What can you tell about the authors? What do we know about the authors? Which author likely has more expertise on the subject, if either? So we'll have to look at that and see. Does each site use good evidence to support its claim? So we want to make sure that we're getting some claim supporting. And which site do you think is more reliable? Okay, so let's go ahead and go on Man on the Moon, a rethink. And we'll go ahead and click on that. And we're just kind of looking through here. Here's our main content. It's kind of dark. It's hard to see. This has the moon landing. So what do you think the point of view is? It looks like space, the Apollo. The main content on here is whether it's a real picture or not from them being in space, because they're saying that with the flag fluttering and waving, there's no wind on the atmosphere and moon, so it shouldn't be waving. But I mean, if you think about it, there's no gravity either. So without having gravity, it would pull the flag up, and you could very well get something. Let's see. I am actually looking for the author right now of who wrote this. So we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. And I'm really not seeing an author on here. I'm just seeing information. If you see one, please put it in comments, because I would love to be able to find it, and maybe it has something to do with some of that. But I'm not, oops. I am not seeing that, so we are actually going to close that out. I don't even know how that quite happened. I clicked on something. But I'm not seeing an author in here, so I'm not sure if this is going to be very reliable. Anything that's supporting the claim, other than the fact that there is no wind. So let's check out the other one, the Great Moon Hoax. And here's this one. And again, I am looking. Okay, so this is more of a blog layout where somebody's come in and just kind of typed up their own little thing here. This is from the NASA Science News. Moon rocks and common sense prove that the Apollo really did visit the moon. And again, it's showing the possibility of credibility. It's showing the evidence that they brought back. We have authors down here that we can get to. They have editors, media relations. They also have other links down here that can get. This is from NASA. So I would say that NASA would win it and that they have supported their claim. The point of view, is it a hoax? Well, we all know it isn't. So they're always trying to stir up things, just like, Elvis is still alive and things along those lines. So I would have to say that the NASA science, the NASA science here would probably be our better one. But then again, I was wrong on all the other ones. So I just wanted us kind of both to take a look, or all of us here to take a look at the different sites that they're talking about. This one isn't as user friendly. It looks like it was last updated today. Let's go to the about. Okay, and that doesn't even work. So I am going to go with this one here and say that this one's more credible. It looks like they actually have gone in and they've given you links so you can go in and find those. As well as information to prove that they really were there. Whereas on this one, we don't really see, I guess this one has a link. But again, I think they're linking you to the hoax sites, moonshots. So I don't know how credible these would be. So you just want to be careful when you're out there looking at all your sites and stuff, that you're making sure to get the right information, because you don't want to be falsified or to be giving out falsified information. So I hope this really has helped you understand searching online, evaluating a website, understanding the difference, really digging in there and finding out if what you're getting is true or not, because it does matter, and things along those lines. So go ahead right now and search away. Have fun with it. I hope it works out, and I hope you get all the information that you're going to need.
If you're a part of the Computer Class Pass Incentive Program, your secret code is, I'm searching online and I'm getting around. Get me this code and I'll get you marked down for taking the classes. Okay, so to wrap all this up, because we've done a lot in the class today, we have searched online. We've learned what a web browser is versus a search engine. We've looked at some of those different search engines. We looked at primarily at Google. We actually talked about Wikipedia. We evaluated a website. We went in and did some online judging. We got some resource information. We got some fact versus fiction when it comes to searching online. Organizing our search, we talked about that, as well as being able to get some of those tips. We also had some cheat sheets out there for Google searching to kind of get you going on that. We also evaluated the anatomy of a web page to get you along. We also looked at advanced search strategies, so you'd be able to get in there and do some extra things if you wanted to do it. We also went over those fast facts and the conversions, which is a really good resource later on. And, we've just done a whole lot. As far as the mobile, we've got some tips out there. And we looked at the Purdue OWL as well as other websites to kind of give us the anatomy. We adjudged the online information ourselves. We have really done a lot in class today. We have verified information using Snopes, which is recommended, as well as doing a bunch of evaluating as a group. So hopefully this is going to help you in the long run to have a better understanding of web pages and the information. If you need any more further assistance or you want to kind of try some of this with me, you can definitely give me a call here at the library. You can email me here at the library, or you could just stop in if you're one of my local people, and we can get you set up. If not, and you're not local, you can still give me a call here at the library, 260-244-5541. My extension is 118, and we can definitely talk about it, and I can do the best I can for you. If we need to, we could use Skype or FaceTime or something along those lines, so we have some type of a connection, so we would be able to communicate with each other. But I just wanted to wrap it all up, sum it all up for you, and get us all in a cool down and a wind down mode after the class today. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I really do look forward to comments that you might put out there for me. And don't forget that I'm going to have some of those printables on the class as well, so you can print those to kind of better assist you. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Congratulations, you completed this course. You are now one step closer to understanding searching online. Take a deep breath. It's all over. You should be very proud of yourself. Without you, there'd be no reason for me to have these classes, so thank you again. You call me if you want to do a one-on-one appointment for a better understanding, because they're always free and my number's listed here for you, or you can give me an email. And don't forget to listen for your Computer Class Pass Incentive Program secret code. Give me that code and you get 10 of these in here, then you'll start winning prizes, and I don't want anybody to miss out on anything like that. So take a deep breath, relax, and have fun searching online, because that's what it's all about, is having fun. If you're not having fun doing it, what's the point? So hey guys, thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing any comments or anything that you might have to say. Make sure you're sharing these classes with your friends and letting them know about them, because they really are beneficial. And gcflearnfree.org, I'm giving you a huge shout out. I couldn't do half the stuff I do without you, so thanks again so much, and thank you to all of you. I want to thank the following websites for their information and pictures. Without the following websites, we could not have had this class today, so thank you for your participation in the class.